Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. I've got our friend Richard from Charlottesville Spurs on the line. Richard, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just hanging in there, checking Twitter every 3 minutes, waiting on the announcement of our new coach. But probably like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you feel about Poch potentially coming back to Tottenham? How do you feel about that?
I've had so many debates about this. It's really a loaded question, man. I think first and foremost, as any Spurs fan, everybody loves Mauricio Pochettino. I mean, everybody. You can't be a Spurs fan and not love what he did for the time that he was here, right? But if you say anything else, what I figured out is if you're not 100% on board, then somehow you're not a Spurs fan. You don't like Poch. So I'm in the camp of I like him a lot. I love what he did. I was there when he rebuilt the team. I was, sitting in Champions League games, watching our team play in London. And I was also there when he lost 7-2 to Bayern. I was there when we were in 13th with the injuries. I was there when he was rolling out lineups that I couldn't stand. My take is this. Would I love him to come back? Yes. Do I want Conte more? Yes. So it doesn't mean I don't like Mauricio Pochettino. It doesn't mean I won't be incredibly happy if he returns. But a lot's got to change for anybody to come in and take over this team. And so, yeah, it's a tough question, man. He was here for 5 years. I loved everything he did, but it's not blasphemous to say that he didn't even win us a domestic cup. I mean, we didn't win anything in 5 years. We came really close, and he did it with a questionable team, barely any backing, considerably less spending. I get all that. I really do. And it doesn't to say I don't want him back. I do. But there are probably two other choices that, Conte being one, Hogg being the other, that I would take, and probably him third. I would be happy with all three. I won't be happy if we have the same lineup. So, it's a complex question. Sorry to ramble on, but it's just, you can't just say yes or no, it's a lot to go behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. This is your way of expressing your views. We want everybody to understand what your views are. So you mentioned the Conte, you mentioned Poch. Who's the third guy? Was that Eddie Howe?
No, it'd be Ten Hag from, yeah.
I thought you said Ten. No, but what would change now if Mauricio Pochettino came back to Tottenham, assuming Levy's not going to change? What's going to change? As you said, he didn't win us anything. Everybody loves him at Tottenham for what he did to that club. He transformed them from a has-been to an elite club. Yeah, so everybody loves him. But the thing is, I'm worried about him coming back. He's going to get the same old rubbish from Levy, and he's not going to be able to achieve. And I don't want him to ruin his legacy. At the moment, he's a hero to everybody. I don't want him to come back and fail, God forbid, and then he's just a failure. I don't really want that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's really a no-win situation for him, It's so hard, and that's another thing. I said that exact same thing that you just said, man. If he comes back, he literally has to finish better than, back in Champions League probably without Kane, and probably with a roster that comes nowhere near to the other clubs that are going to be in the top four. Something has to change. Hitchen has to go. Levy has to go. We really have to get some spending. The other problem I have with Pochettino is a lot of the people that we signed are his.
Yep.
Not that we signed a lot. And if I recall, there was a summer where we didn't spend any money. We didn't sign one person. Yep. But when I look at the roster, it's just a tough one, man. I would love him back. I would. If they announce him today, I'm all for it, but my God, dude, he has to have control. He's got to be able to spend money, and we've got to get a team around him. But I don't know. I mean, the question for me is we've got two major things. Is Kane going to stay? Does Pochettino keep him there? It certainly looks like City after that performance in the Champions League, they need a striker. They're going to go get him. So I don't know.
I think Cam, who's on our team as well, brought up a really good point that he was fired to keep Harry Kane at the club because we weren't achieving anything. So we brought Mourinho in to hopefully win things to keep Harry Kane. And now Mourinho's gone, and now we're trying to bring Poch in to bring Harry Kane. But Harry Kane was going to leave because of Poch anyway, because we weren't winning anything. So I'm not sure where that's going.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a manager merry-go-round here, Richard. We've got Conte, we've got Zidane, and we've got Poch, and we've got three roles. We've got Real Madrid, PSG, and Tottenham. Obviously, Tottenham's the lesser of all three of those. So
Yeah.
there's a feeling here, and I'll get your view on it. There's a feeling here in the UK that Poch is just playing us against so he can get a better deal from Real Madrid and stuff like that. Get Real Madrid to act a bit quicker. What do you think about that?
I mean, listen, like, let's be honest. Poch loves the fans. I think he loves the culture. Do you think Poch liked being fired the way he did by Levy and the board? I mean, I go for it, but I don't blame him, man. That's why it's so bizarre to me that that Levy can think he could just go back and and all of a sudden Poch would come back and save this disaster that was this season. So I'm with you on that one. I would back that theory, that Poch has got to do what's best for him. And I just find it interesting that he would want to come back to this, and that makes me, if it's true, and you never know. I mean, he said that, quotes, one day he'd like to come back. I always thought that day was going to be after Levy and after Enoch and after there were a lot of changes. I didn't know it was going to be the following year. So that doesn't surprise me at all that he would be doing that, because I just, the way he left was, it was probably the most unceremoniously, sacking I've seen for what he did for the club. And I've always wondered, could he ever come back after that? Could he ever be in the same room with Levy, after he was just let go like that so quickly?
Yeah,
so
like
after all that he's done.
If Levy's trying to get him back, obviously Levy thinks he's made a mistake by firing him in the first place. But
but I would go back to, he should be playing both sides, and maybe he is getting a better deal. I mean, I think everybody's going to do that at this point. Yeah. So
we've got a feeling that whoever PSG and Madrid don't take, we'll get that. So if Zidane goes to PSG, which is a French guy, he potentially wants to go to PSG. Yeah. If Pochettino goes to Real Madrid, then I think we win because we get the best one out of all three of them, which is Antonio Conte. I think, as you said,
I'm with you.
He's a born winner. He's going to ruffle a few feathers in that dressing room, and he's going to get things done. Now, if he's got money to spend, he's got away plays, back five, wing backs, might suit Tottenham with Matt Doherty, etc. What's your thoughts on that, Richard? Of Conte taking over?
Well, Conte's my first choice. I also like Ten Hag. I really do. I think he plays that attacking Dutch style football, but I think with Conte, what he did at Inter, what he did at Chelsea, the guy is a winner. He takes mid-table clubs, which, let's be honest, that's what we are now. He turns them around. He does it with very little, and he gets someplace. The only counter argument to that, and I'd like that people have asked me, is what's the difference between Conte and Mourinho? And that's a tough one to answer. They're both maybe it's the style and the alienation of what Mourinho did in the archaic football, but we need a winner. We were on the right track with that. I love what Poch did, but I'm with you. I think Conte is the right choice. Maybe he can get Kane to stay, but back to what you said about your pal. Yeah, I mean, Kane was about to leave, and I think that was one of the reasons why probably they brought in Mourinho.
Exactly. Now, you said about Conte being Mourinho, but Conte's actually won the league, just won Serie A with Inter. He won the Premier League a couple of seasons ago. He's actually a more younger coach. He's done it recently. I can't remember the last time the Mourinho won the league. I think it'd be a better deal actually, and he could bring Lukaku with him to replace Kane. And maybe, what do you reckon about this? Christian Eriksen may come back to Tottenham with Antonio Conte, because Conte's got the best out of Eriksen now, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that's, again, I'm going to be Eriksen, the way he played the last couple games, I felt like he just bended. I don't think he tried. I was actually disgusted at him in his last few outings for Tottenham. So he's got to do a lot to earn the way he wanted to leave. I didn't like anything about Eriksen, man. That was the dark days of Tottenham when we were, 13 games without a win. And, Kane was hurt and Son was hurt and Eriksen was, out there just giving the ball away and halfway jogging. So, I mean, I just want a clean start. I really do. If it's Conte, I want him to come in and just start getting rid of the players that don't belong at the club anymore. Aurier, Sissoko, the list goes on, right?
Poirier's already said in the press that he's not signing a new contract, so he's going to be going. Which other players would you get rid of? I think we've had the discussion before, but I just want to...
Yeah, we've had this discussion.
So you'd get rid of Aurier, Sissoko, Winks. Would you get rid of Winks?
I would get rid of Winks. I'd get rid of Dyer, and I would get rid of Lamella. I just think we just need a new identity, man.
I agree.
And I think we need to get rid of those players that have been through the majority of the demise of Poch and sort of the demise of Jose. And there's that core right there that you mentioned. I'm on the fence about Sanchez. I really think Sanchez actually played harsh for the bat. I just don't think he's skillful enough at times. But I want to see the young, Jaffet and Roden. I think even Toby is getting to that point where, it's time to move on and build a young core of players around, what we have up front. I think we do.
Going back to Poch, Richard. I mean, anybody who's a manager of PSG is meant to automatically win, the French first division, and he didn't win that. He got knocked out of the Champions League.
Second.
Yeah, do we really want him back or not? I mean, Conte's won Serie A in a much harder league. The Italian league is quite hard with Juve, Napoli, AC Milan, all these hard teams, and he's actually won it. I don't know how many points. He won it by 12 points, so he's done really well. I'd rather have to. We've got to get Conte. Anybody else, even Ten Hag, I don't want him. I don't want Ten Hag because the Eredivisie is not as strong as the Serie A, and I think he would struggle in Premier League. We've got to get
Pochettino came second in a one-man race.
Exactly. That's what he came third in a two-horse race and second in a one-man race. That's Pochettino for you.
Yeah, and I think, again, going back, I always have to qualify this because if you say like you are and like I am, I think we are on the exact same page. It doesn't mean I don't love Pochettino and all that he's done for our club by saying that I don't want him back right now. Maybe at a time, but he had his chance. It's gonna, why taint the man's legacy? Like you said, let's get a proven winner on the international stage. That's done it in the EPL, that's done it abroad, that's done it recently. The only drawback of Conte is just another ex-Chelsea manager, and I've just got to hear my Chelsea friends talk about how we take all their rejects.
Yeah,
but other than that,
he won the league and he won the FA Cup, so hardly a reject. But anyway,
I know, but it's just I'm with you, man. I want.
Where you're coming from, yeah. So, I
want him.
Yeah, I want him as well. Richard, your final thoughts on the managers? Because there's a big vacuum there. Until we appoint a manager, we can't buy any players, we can't sell any players, we can't do anything really. So how quickly do you want a new manager? And give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, I want the manager as soon as possible. I thought there was a cryptic tweet that Tottenham sent out, picture of the stadium. It had the blue and the gray dots. I was thinking right away, a buddy of mine, Jimmy Tharp, said that's the Argentinian flag color. So I said, uh-oh, here it comes. And then it just went dark. So I thought it was coming right now. I'm assuming it's going to happen this week. I would be, I think by Friday we'll know something, and then we can move on, and then we can start tackling whether or not we get the greatest striker in the world back on our team. But that's going to have to probably wait until after Euros. But I'm with you. I think it's got to be Conte. It's got to be this week. Let's break the bank. Let's get him in, and let's start. Let's have him bring some players around him, whether it's and let's go from there. So,
okay, hey, listen. What we'll do is once the new manager's announced, we'll have another call with you to get your thoughts on the.
Let's do it.
Okay. So,
and if it's Conte, let's start celebrating and plotting our return back to Champions League.
Exactly. And give us a come on, you Spurs, before you go then.
All right, everybody. Come on, you Spurs!
Thanks, Richard.
Later, man. Always good talking to you.
All the best, buddy. Thank you. Take care now. Bye-bye. Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. I've got Jacob, a Spurs fan from London, with us on the line. Hello, Jacob.
Yo.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. Jacob, give us your thoughts about the rumours about potentially Pochettino coming back to Tottenham. What do you think about that?
I miss him.
Let's put the bromance to one side. In terms of footballing terms, what do you think about it?
Well, first of all, I think it's not going to happen because, first of all, I think he's contracted at PSG for at least for a year, and they're probably going to extend the contract as well.
Yep.
And I just think nice things don't happen to us like lately, and that would be a very nice thing to happen. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I want it to happen as well.
Why would you
Yeah,
not
I
want it
think
to happen, Jacob? What would stop you from welcoming him back with open arms? What's sort of your hesitation there?
I just think, first of all, I think not enough has changed at the club, right? I think we're kind of, there's been multiple points where we've been at a kind of precipice where I've gone, okay, Daniel Levy has to spend money here. He has to invest at the right time with the right players. He has to get his crap together, basically. And he just hasn't done it. Like, he did it after we came second in the league. He did it after the failed title race with Leicester. He did it after the Champions League final. He didn't really invest where he needed to invest. And I just feel like now is a time where it's like, okay, now we really have to get our crap together. Now you have to rebuild, you have to sell players. And I'd kind of be an idiot for expecting him to do it now. And I think that is probably the main prerequisite for Poch coming back. I sorry.
No, go ahead, Jacob. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay on the line. Go ahead.
I don't know. Yeah, I think also, I love Poch, and I think if you look at, because me and my boy Mario were kind of just talking about it and going back through some of the most ridiculous results we had, like going through the stats for the 16-17 season where we scored the most goals and conceded the least goals, and looking at somebody did a tweet about how Liverpool were in the group of death for the year that they won the Champions League, and I went back and looked at our group, and it was like Barcelona, PSV, Inter Milan. We got out of that group. Looking at the year before, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, and we got out of that group without losing. Like, we were ridiculous in the Poch era, but we just kind of came up short, and I don't think there's enough. I don't think enough has changed either with the club or with Poch to make me think like, okay, now even if we do end up having the best team in the league again, we'll get over that line. Like, I think it's a bit too soon.
Yeah. Do you think there's an element of Poch playing us? I mean, the real job that he wants is Real Madrid. Do you think there's an element that he's just playing Spurs off against Real Madrid so he can get the best deal from Real Madrid, and also to speed Real Madrid up? So saying, look, Tottenham potentially coming in for me. If you want me, you better get me now. You think there's an element to that?
No, because I mean, Poch is, because I read his book and we've seen him in interviews, and I think Poch is a romantic. Like, he put everything into Tottenham. Like, I went on like a stadium tour of Tottenham, and the amount of times the tour guide was like, "Oh yeah," and Maurizio had a personal input on this room. Oh, he had a personal input. Like, he helped to build the inside of the stadium, so he has very, very personal stakes in Tottenham. So I feel like he would never use them as a bargaining chip. Like, if he is kind of courting both Tottenham and Real Madrid, it's because in his mind, he's like, I really want to go to Tottenham, but I also really want to go to Real Madrid. So I don't think it's a kind of like playing them off against each other. I think at worst, it's him being a bit struggling to decide. And I think he would probably prefer, at the stage he is now in his career, I think he would prefer Tottenham, because I think going to the top club is a bit of a house now, especially the state Real Madrid are in.
But the thing is, these Real Madrid positions don't come up every day, you know. And if it comes up, you want to try and grab it with both hands, because it may be another 5-6 years before it comes up again if the new manager is really successful. So, do you think it's a case of he needs to take the opportunity now? He might not get offered it again.
It may be 5 or 6 years, but it could be like 1 year. And I just think, like, I think both Tottenham and Real Madrid are two clubs that are desperately in need of a kind of new dynasty. Like, they need a kind of manager who will completely take over the club, completely rebuild the squad in his own image, and make it self-sufficient. And I think, first of all, I think Real Madrid are in quite a lot of debt, so I can't see them. They might have the pull power, but I can't see them being the kind of carte blanche that they were before. And I think Poch is, as a person, he's a lot about vibes and he's a lot about energy. And I think Real Madrid is probably one of the worst vibes in world football. Yep. Like, you see how they treat Gareth Bale, like, because I don't know what their problem. I guess because he wasn't Cristiano Ronaldo, but he still had the audacity to score goals for them and win finals for them. But yeah, I just think if maybe it's kind of going a bit too deep into that romanticism, but I do think he would probably go for Tottenham.
Okay, I mean, and if nothing change, I mean, rumors are he's going to get 150 million to spend and can do whatever he wants with it and change it and all that. Do you see Livy? I mean, he doesn't change his. A leopard doesn't change his spots unless he's seen the light or something. What's going to change? This is my big worry. Poch comes back. He's got a great legacy at the moment, Jacob. Everybody loves him. If he comes back and God forbid there's an issue and it doesn't work and we do even worse, it's going to ruin his legacy. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, there's a few things to that. I think one thing is that Levy, yeah, you're right. Like Levy, a leopard doesn't change his spots. But one thing about Levy is that he will always do something when he is financially backed into a corner. Mm-hmm. And I think right now he's made a string of terrible decisions. Like sacking Poch, well, not backing Poch was a bad decision. I think sacking him at the point that he did wasn't the best decision. I can understand why he did it. Hiring Mourinho and literally staking his career on it. Than having a documentary crew come in and film how Mourinho was the greatest thing at Tottenham. All really, really high-profile mistakes. And then losing the Carabao Cup, high-profile mistakes. I just think that now we've gotten to a point where how well the football club does on the pitch now has a massive say on how it does off the pitch. Like, they need Champions League money. Yep. They need reasons to keep them in the Super League conversation, which I'm sure they're still going to have. So I think Levy kind of has no choice but to back. He needs to refresh the team. Like, it's gone to a point where the team can't be allowed to stay the way it is. We have a lot of players like Ore and Sissoko who want out. We have way too many foreign players in. Like, we're way over the quota. So I just think it's gone to the point where his hand has to be forced.
So what if Poch doesn't come back for whatever reason, goes to Real Madrid? There's this merry-go-round, isn't there? You got Poch, Conte, and Zidane, and you got Real Madrid, PSG, and Tottenham. Three clubs they're looking for. If Poch goes to Real Madrid and Zidane goes to PSG, how do you feel about having Antonio Conte at Tottenham?
His hair is so weird.
I know. I know he's definitely had a hair transplant. But other than that, what do you think about him? He is a winner. He's won the Premier League. He's won Serie A. He's won the FA Cup. He's a winner.
I think you and me, of all people, know best that to be a bit skeptical of winners. I think he did really good. He did bits with a really not a great Chelsea team. Like, I think their defense was like Cahill and some crap, and he did
really
wing
back, wasn't he? Victor Moses at right wing back.
And I'm half Nigerian, so I love Victor Moses, but I don't want him at left wing back in my team. I distinctly remember him having an amazing game against us in the FA Cup. But yeah, I think because this team is in such dire. I think my thing about Conte is that I think this team is in dire need of a rebuild from top to bottom, and that includes like from the academy upwards. Like, I think there needs to be a complete change in the culture of Tottenham Hotspur, and I don't think Conte is the person to do that, because I do think what we need right now is a project manager to completely. Because not only did we come to the end of the cycle after Poch left, but then we had the Mourinho year where everything is just kind of out of whack. Like, the players aren't fit anymore. Things are so toxic. Like, there's a lot of different agendas in the club. I just think there needs to be like a massive clear out, and I don't think Conte's the manager to really do that.
Sure. No, I understand that. Yeah, that's a fair point. And obviously, I don't think there's any chance Zidane is going to come. Apparently, when he said, "Will you be going to Tottenham?" he said, "Who are they?" So he obviously doesn't know. I'm just joking. He knows about Tottenham, but I don't think he's a great manager. I think he had a great team at Madrid, and he's managing.
And he's too bald. I think if you have
against bald men, I'm a bald man as well. What you got against bald men, mate? That's very follicleist, isn't it? I don't know what the word is, but follicleist.
In isolation, I just think if you have both Levy and Zidane, I think things just get a bit too. They can play like if it's a sunny day, you're just blind, right?
Yeah, you can put a cap on like I do. But it's great, Jacob. Thank you very much for your time. That's been really insightful from you. Any final thoughts for the viewers on what you think? We need an appointment very quickly because there's a vacuum. We can't sell players. We can't buy players until the new manager comes in. And sorry, I forgot to ask you a question. Is Harry Kane going to stay if Pochettino comes back? I forgot to ask you that. What's your thoughts?
I think he won't. I do think it'll change his thinking a bit because he'll have somebody who knows him, who knows his mates. But I do think Harry Kane understands better than anybody that the club needs a massive rebuild. So I don't see how Poch coming back would. I don't think any manager coming back could really change his mind because he's had Poch, then he had Mourinho, the guaranteed winner, and he saw Mourinho struggle within the club structure. So I think he realizes the problem is the club and not the manager.
Sure.
So I don't think.
Excellent, Jacob. Thank you very much. So what we normally do is people who come to the video to the channel, we get them to leave with a "Come on, you Spurs." So give us a big "Come on, you Spurs" before you go, Jacob.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, mate. Take care. All the best, and thank you for your insightful, words there.
One last opinion as well. I want whatever manager won't sell Davinson Sanchez.
Okay, well, I think you're going to struggle there because I think whoever comes in is going to get rid of him. He's first on the list. I think you've got a man crush on Sanchez as well, but we won't talk about it. We'll save that for another video.
That's Gazzaniga. Gazzaniga is my first love.
So you got Gazzaniga, Pochettino, Sanchez. Good luck, mate. You've got the whole team to go to. Take care, buddy. Have a great evening. Speak soon, yeah? All the best, mate.
No worries.
Bye. Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. On the line, I've got Steve Singh from London. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Ray. How's it going?
Very well, my friend. Very well. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Thanks for your time, Steve. I just want to do a quick call with you to get your thoughts on, all these rumours about this manager merry-go-round, Poch, Conte and Zidane, and you've got PSG, Madrid and Tottenham. Just give us your thoughts. I know you've got a lot of inside knowledge. Just give us your thoughts about what you think is going to happen over the next few days.
Well, the talk that I'm hearing is that Pochettino is coming back. So yeah, that's basically what I'm hearing. It's one of those deals that it's a now or never.
Yep.
So the timing everyone is saying couldn't be so wrong, but then the timing at the same time couldn't be so right. And I don't think it either happens now or it never happens.
So are you saying that Poch either comes back now or he won't come back ever or for a very long time? Is that what you're saying?
He won't come back ever.
Oh, okay. He won't come back.
So, yeah, I mean, if you look at it, so we all know that Tottenham need to a complete overhaul or an overhaul of at least 6 or so players. Let's be realistic. We're probably not going to get rid of like everyone, but you would say that we would need 5 or 6 starting players in there, potentially maybe more if Kane were to leave, which he won't, but that's you are going to need 4 to 5 just to freshen that squad up. And so if you get somebody like a Conte in, it doesn't work, then you're back to square one again. So, and the thing is you would have wasted all of those monies on players that the new manager or Pochettino doesn't fancy. What's the point in doing that?
Yep.
So it's a now or never.
But Pochettino, what's changed from now and when he left 18 months ago, whenever it was? What's changed? I mean, Daniel Levy's still there. The constraints is probably even worse now because we've had a pandemic. What makes you think it's going to be any better this time round, Steve?
Just to be fair, if in all honesty, I would have preferred it to have been a little bit further down and he would have cut his cloth, learned a few things, because he's in terms of management, he's quite a novice.
Yep.
And obviously he's not, these kind of managers, they need an opportunity at a big gig. And I think that he's earned that through working his way up. And he's earned obviously that at PSG. And, when he took them over, they were a point behind Lille. When he finished the season, they were a point behind Lille. So I think he lost quite a few games there as well. I don't know the exact numbers, but he kind of just pretty much, it was just a snapshot of when he took over the club to when he finished his tenure. It was pretty much it was the same points. He ended up losing the league by a point. I would have liked it further down the line. But if it's a case of it's now or never, then I'll take him now.
And this business about PSG, exercising the option on 1 year on his contract, that doesn't mean anything. All that means is they want more money for him if he does go. Is that correct?
Well, that's exactly it. So you're going to get more compensation for him.
Yep. So
It's one of these. It's too. I honestly think if I take my stance on it, I think that a deal was potentially done for maybe. I could be wide off the mark, but I definitely think that we looked at like a Ten Hag, and potentially a deal was done. I don't know who the manager it was done for, but I reckon there was a done deal, and then we just had 2 or 3 game changers that, like, if a manager like Conte comes in, who's a tried and tested over a prospect manager like a Ten Hag, it could go either way. It's a 50-50, and it's a massive risk. So I think obviously we moved our attention to Conte, and from Conte, then you have a situation where Poch is there. Then you go back to kind of, it's one of them. I hear rumors that we've got thousands, not hundreds, of season ticket holders who haven't renewed their season tickets. I'm in WhatsApp groups with a lot of Spurs fans, and so many of them are just waiting. And I think the deadline is the 3rd, so they've got 2 days.
Yeah. So they've got 2 days, and you think if they appoint Poch, then obviously there's going to be a big rush for season tickets, etc. Because
there's the sentimental connection. So the fans know that he obviously can do a job, and they rate his ability as a manager. And he was playing our brand of football. Granted, towards the end, the results were bad, but I think you had a lot of factors there, like Eriksen's head had turned. And as a result of Eriksen not playing, Dele wasn't the same player, and then you still had the massive void that Dembele left, and that was never filled. And then obviously Vertonghen, he got a little bit older. It was a whole
combination of things.
Combination of things
that happened, and all at the same time to go against him. But your heart's telling you Poch. Is your head telling you Poch as well, or your head telling you Conte?
100%.
Your head and your heart are both telling you Poch. Yeah,
is Poch. If you're going to give somebody, because everyone at every single one of the fans said, why did you sack Mourinho? You should have just given that money to Poch.
Exactly.
Why did you sack Pochettino?
Just give the money.
You should have given. Yeah, you should have backed him. And then obviously this has been a very expensive way of doing it, and we probably lost out a good part of what. I don't know how much these compensation packages, and you don't know how much to believe, but we're talking double-digit millions.
Yeah, but I mean, Poch has brought in some duds as well. Like Sanchez is a dud. He brought in Vincent Janssen. There must be others that Poch has brought in. So, but it happens to every manager. Every manager buys duds and buys good players. So, if Poch gets the money, then he could potentially do something. But the thing is, if you were Poch and you had an option of Real Madrid and Tottenham, are you going to choose Tottenham?
I think so.
Okay, only for the emotional link, because obviously Real Madrid is a bigger club than us.
Oh yeah, of course. That's not that. But I genuinely believe that there is also an emotional link. But this is from reading like articles just about people who clearly know him better. Like Gian Balagay's come on and said things, and he had part to help with his book. And he's come out and said that he's a very different from most other people in terms of that family and his values. He's very kind of loyal, and there's certain things that he holds as sacred, and it's that whole family feel, not only as a club, but his family have settled in London. He hasn't sold his house. And his family didn't move out his son's still playing in London, and his wife never left the home in England either.
Okay.
So sometimes if someone said to you, I'll give you £2 million, a season or whatever, £2 million a year, but you're not going to see your family. Sometimes you have to strike that happy medium. So that's where he's going to find it. He's going to find that very hard.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's other things. Certain people who want money, who are driven by money, they might obviously take that. Some people are driven by success and how they're going to be perceived. But some people just like hold those that are around them dear, like their family. You can't put a price on that. So no amount of success, no salary is ever going to pay that. So that's the part that I think that people are not understanding. And there's pictures of him that he's put on his social media. He's in London.
Yep.
And he has been for this last 2 weeks since his voice was obviously coming out. He's been sounded out. There's no questions. And I think that they both know that it's either now or never, because then you don't know, maybe in a year, 2 years, he gets offered a bigger and better job than PSG. What if he gets sacked by PSG in 3 months' time?
Yep.
And Tottenham are sailing with a different manager?
Yep. Now, is there a danger, Steve, that at the moment he left, everybody loves him, he can't do anything wrong for any Tottenham? I've never heard a Tottenham fan say anything bad about Poch. So his legacy is there. Is there a danger if he comes back and it all goes belly up and it doesn't work out and he gets the wrong players and, we're in languishing near the bottom? Is Levy going to take that risk that this could happen again and he can't fire him because he fired him once already and got it wrong? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think that he's clearly shown that he's improved players, and I genuinely think he's very naive. Not naive. He's very stubborn. Yeah, I would say, and he never used to. We always used to do it every single game. He only used to have a plan A, and he never had a plan B. So we would always do that high press. But then when teams kind of sussed it out and then started playing like two banks of four, basically, he would struggle, wouldn't have any plan B, would end up having 80% possession, camped in the opposition's half, and they'll score like a free kick off somebody's backside or something. Yeah. And it was just one of them that we then didn't know how to break down the teams. And I thought towards the end of his tenure, he changed his tactics and he started doing this playing out from the back. Granted, he didn't have the players to do that, but he did make kind of small adaptations, and he was so he did show a willingness to obviously tactically change things. And if you look at the long ball statistics, how he was compared to long balls played within his first couple of years at Spurs compared to his last 18 months at Spurs, we were going a lot more route one. Yeah. Maybe because we didn't have the player personnel to play the high press, but he did show that he's obviously changed his ways. So
if he does come back, Steve, then obviously somebody like Toby Alderweireld is not going to be around for much longer. Which other players do you think are at risk of being removed from the club if Poch does? I mean, let's put it this way: if Poch comes back, who's going to be on his list to get out of that club? Because you said he's going to do a rebuild, and I agree with you. But who is the people that he's going to get rid of? Who do you think?
Toby's definitely gone.
Toby, I know he's definitely going to go. Yeah. Who else do you think?
So Toby will be gone. I think that. I think Lamela will be gone.
Even though he's Argentinian and loves Argentinian players.
I think Lamela will be gone. I think that if you get he's just purely as a business selling, there will be players that have got if you can kind of get money for them as opposed to nothing for them, those are the players. So I'm not thinking, what sort of squad value. If you said to Poch, do you want to keep Musa Sissoko for another season to do a job, or would you rather put that money into beefing up the squad to a younger prospect or an upgrade, I think he'll choose the latter. So these sort of players like Sissoko, he'll be gone. Not because he hates them or anything. I just think that you've got to a thing, your shelf life, you're at the end of your shelf life. Your sell-by date's coming to close, and these kind of players will be gone. So Sissoko, for me, will be gone. I think Harry Winks could go. Yeah. And that will shock people, because I think that Harry Winks is one of those that he's got the British tax. So being homegrown, that tax, he holds that. And I think he could command a semi-sizable fee.
So Harry Winks, Alderweireld, Sissoko, Orio's already said he wants to go. He's going to
Orio, and then
Dyer?
I think Dyer could be gone.
For the 5 or 6, okay. And then hopefully, but he's got to get him in quickly so that he can start getting the players that he wants. You know, it's not going to be, after the Euros, he needs to start getting the players that he wants. So this announcement, when do you think it's going to be made, Steve, about the new manager?
Well, I was initially thinking that it's going to be made before the deadline. So I went on and said it was going to be tomorrow, but I don't think it is.
Which deadline are you talking about?
So the deadline for season ticket renewals.
Oh, sorry, Sorry.
They were strategically going to place it just before then to kind of get the G up from the fans. But I can't. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be potentially Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, so I think you're just going to miss that.
There's a vacuum there. It needs to be filled really quickly. I mean, I've spoken to quite a few fans, and it's 50-50. Some saying, no, he shouldn't come back. He didn't do anything. I mean, we had great football, but we didn't actually win anything. Need a winner. And there's fans like you saying that he's going to change now because he's going to get money. He can rebuild the squad. All the deadwood that he tried to get out 18 months ago, he will be able to get them out this time. So let's see what happens. I think there's interesting times ahead, whatever happens. So you don't think Conte is going to come then?
I don't think he strikes me as one of these that won't play second fiddle. Yeah. So if you're kind of getting in bed with another manager, he won't want any of that. Okay. It's either him, you either buy into him, and or it's all or nothing. You can't be like secretly, coaxing other managers or, trying to line them up. And it's like, well, how does that make you feel? Yeah. Being kind of like a second best or third choice. So I don't think he'll get strung along. So that's where the Conte was definitely on the table. I don't dispute that. But then sometimes the planets align, and then something falls into place. Yeah,
because I can't think Conte would have left Inter without something else on the in the pipeline. No, he's not that stupid, is he? Surely. So no, I don't know what he was thinking there, but maybe, I don't know. We'll see. It'll all come to fruition, as you said, in the next few days. I don't think Levy can leave it too much longer.
Well, the also another thing with regards to Poch is I think that he maybe this was the Levy's expectations, where he valued top four above a trophy, and where he publicly came out and said that, I don't care about the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. I care about the league and Champions League. And so he openly come out and said that. And then we as fans, we've been deprived of silverware for so many years that we'll take whatever we can get. And I think that he will take the cup serious.
Yeah, because that's one thing I didn't like about him. He was playing second-hand teams or second-string teams in the Carabao and the FA Cup. And I'm thinking, beggars can't be choosers. We haven't won anything for so long. Yeah, you can't pick and choose who you're going to play. So I hope he does change that, really, because we got a good chance. In the Cups, it's a one-off match. You never know.
I think that's come from the top, though. Yeah. Because if someone sets out your, these are your targets, and you're measured across them, and then obviously if top four is his target, he got top four 5 times out of, he got it 4... Was it 5 seasons out of 6? Yep. 5 seasons out of 6. He got you top 4. Yep. So he's hit that target. So then, if he's not measured on a cup win or anything like that, what does he care?
Yep. Okay, Steve. Well,
And that's the money spinner.
Yep. No, I agree. Listen, Steve, it's been great chatting to you. Appreciate your time. Final thoughts, and then you've got to finish with a come on you Spurs like we always do. But give us your final words and finish with a come on you Spurs.
Final thoughts is I think Poch is going to be back, and I would probably say by Thursday, Friday, if not sooner.
Okay, and a come on you Spurs?
So, yeah, come on you Spurs.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. Steve. Welcome to the Spurs 9501 podcast. I've got Terry on the line from Vermont. Hello, Terry.
Hi, Ray. Thanks for having me.
No worries, buddy. Thanks for joining the show today. I just wanted to get your thoughts on these rumours going around about Mauricio Pochettino potentially returning to Tottenham. What's your thoughts on that, Terry?
Well, I think it's terribly exciting. At first, I didn't really believe the rumors. I thought, there were just so many rumors. But now I'm starting to believe them. And so I think it's super, super exciting. I think it'd be great. However, I'm also a little apprehensive about it because it seems a little weird, a little strange to sack a manager and then bring him back a year later. I don't know when we've last seen that, or if at all, just with such a short time span. So that's a little unusual. I was really a big Pochettino fan when he was with Spurs. I saw his last game as manager, as a matter of fact. So I thought it was an end of a Spurs era, but maybe it wasn't. But I just hope. Here's my concern for Pochettino: if he comes back, I hope that he's not set up to fail again. I hope he's given the tools that he needs. I think there's a potential for success there with his return, though.
But let me ask you one thing, Terry. What's actually changed now? Let's assume Daniel Levy hasn't changed because the leopard doesn't change his spots. What's changed now between when Mauricio left 18 months ago and potentially returning now? What's going to be different? Is he going to be given money to spend? What do you think? Why would he even consider coming back?
Right. That's you're getting to what my concerns are. So if it's the same as 18 months ago, then that's a setup for failure. But presumably he's going to come back and I hope get the money to get the players that he wants. And I think if that happens, then it might mean that there's a different role that Levy plays as the chairman, and that he's less hands-on, and so there's somebody who's a buffer between Pochettino and his staff and the chairman in the boardroom. Maybe somebody like a director of football, type person to keep Levy at bay and keep his hands out of it. So there's got to be some changes. Things can't be the same if he comes back, because if it is, then I think it's a setup for failure, and that's going to be too bad.
Well, taking the emotional element out of it, everybody loves Poch and what he did, etc. Take the emotional element out. He hasn't actually excelled himself as a manager since he's left us. So he didn't win a Ligue 1, which most PSG managers do. He got knocked out of the Champions League semi-final. What is he actually was? Why do you think he's any better than when he left us 18 months ago? What's changed?
Well, I don't think he's necessarily any better.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think that's a really good question. I think he's a manager still on the rise. If he doesn't come back to Spurs and stays at PSG, I won't be surprised. Because, like I said, it seems a little unusual to ping pong back and forth so quickly between a club you just left. No, I think he's still a hot commodity in that elite market of managers that he runs in, and but I think there's other managers that I'd be happy with, and a lot of other Spurs supporters too. So I mean, if he doesn't come back, I'm not gonna cry over it.
Sure. So there's currently a manager merry-go-round, isn't there? There's Pochettino, there's Conte, there's Zidane, and there's 3 jobs. So there's like we call pass the parcel. See what happens, see where you end up. So it could be that Poch is actually really wants the Real Madrid job and the Tottenham job. If he can't get Real Madrid, then he may go to Tottenham. But that could happen. But how would you react to getting Antonio Conte as manager?
I guess I wouldn't be as excited about it, because I feel like he's the only reason I like Pochettino as much as I do is because he was just so fun and so great when he was at Spurs.
Yep.
And I think he still has more to do in terms of his career. I think he's on an upward trajectory, but Conte seems like that old merry-go-round, that we've seen, maybe Mourinho's like now he's in the Mourinho crowd for me. He's not as exciting. He's a name that's been around for a long, long time. I don't know. It just he's Pochettino's more like new blood, which seems to me is more exciting.
Yeah. So Conte is a winner. He's won Serie A. He's won the Premier League. Yep. He's won the FA Cup. So if we're looking for a winner, then we don't look any further than Conte. But you're right. Maybe he would clash too much with Levy. But I'm not sure why he left Inter without another job. It's all very sort of strange to me, all this stuff that's happening. But let me ask you, sorry, go ahead, Terry. Did you want to say something?
I just read just about why he's leaving there is maybe they just I read an article that they're tightening the purse strings there, and he's gonna not have as much buying power as he wants for new players.
Sure. So Conte maybe not come, but if Pochettino does come back, then I hope he gets the money that he needs. Don't you think so, for a rebuild?
I hope that would be one of his contingencies or one of his demands, for returning that. And it's something really solid. Like, I get a budget of, X hundreds of millions of dollars or hundreds, and so he knows what he's got to work with.
Yep. No, I understand that. Yeah. So, thanks very much, Terry. I mean, any final thoughts on the manager's role? Anything you wanted to say before we close the call?
I think a lot of people are, you hear a lot of Levy out stuff and I'm not in that camp. I think he's done a lot for the club. Yep. However, whatever the manager is, I hope that Levy stays out of it a little bit more. Yep. I wonder if somehow he just doesn't have the experience with the game. Yep. Really. No. And he's more of a businessman. But and I don't mean no offense towards him.
No,
but maybe
that's
the kind of change that we need.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Terry, thank you very much. I really appreciate your call. And let's do another call once the new manager's been appointed. We'll do a follow-up call on that. Okay?
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Rick.
Thanks, Terry.
Take care.
Take care, buddy. All the best. Bye. Yep. Bye-bye.